Hey everybody, my name is Josh Castleberry. I am owner and operator of Castle Coffee in downtown Albuquerque, New Mexico. Today we're doing another one of our brew series. Today we're actually going to go over the Chemex, a brew method that is really good for maybe two people that want to have a cup of coffee in the morning. It's like a slow brew pour over method, but it does actually 2 cups worth as opposed to like a V60 or a Fellow or anything like that where it just does a 1 12-ounce cup. A Chemex is really nice because you can make more, a lot more kind of pour over, coffee for multiple people. The recipe that we do is actually good for 2 perfectly like 12-ounce cups of coffee. So you can also like split that, between more people if you do less coffee ounces and stuff like that. But the recipe that we do in particular is good for 2 12-ounce coffees. A little note on the Chemex, there's different size cups, like cup size of Chemexes. So they make like a 6 cup, they make an 8 cup, they make a 12 cup. Cup is kind of this weird unknown kind of variable in a lot of the coffee brewing systems. Basically, like when it says 8 cups, a cup can mean like 4 ounces. So a like 6 cup Chemex is technically good for like 24 ounces, which in other words would be 2 12-ounce cups. So even though it says 6 cup Chemex, it's really good for really only about like 2 to 3 cups at the most. If you want like a good substantial amount of coffee, if you're just kind of sharing it, like little pieces here and there, then obviously do as you will. But for our recipe, it is 2 12-ounce cups of coffee. So yeah, for our Chemex, the ratio that we do is a 1:14. So we do around 52 grams in to 720 grams out. So 720 grams in terms of ounces is 24 ounces. And so when we brew into this, we'll at the end be able to, me and my wife make one of these every morning, so we both can have our own cup of coffee. So that's really nice. A couple things that you'll need is just your gooseneck kettle. Preferably, we use Fellow kettle, which is temperature controlled. We like to keep it around 199 degrees and we kind of hold it at that temperature. You want your burr grinder. It can be electric, it can be handheld. It can really be any one of those options as long as it's a burr grinder. As I mentioned before in past videos, the blade grinders kind of chop the beans to where it's inconsistent grinds. And that will actually affect your extraction in the final cup, and you will be able to taste some of those inconsistencies. And so burr grinders are really good about keeping that grind super consistent, therefore your extraction is consistent. A lot of kind of, funky talk, but basically the burr grinder is what's best for kind of the slow bar brew methods. For our grind setting, we're going to do kind of a medium to medium coarse. It's not going to be as fine as the single cup V60 or the Kalita or any of that stuff. We're going to do more of a medium coarse. For our coffee in particular that we're brewing today, we found it a little more on the medium side than the coarse side. But again, test your coffees, see if the one that you are using is better one way or the other. But we found ours today is better on the medium side. So yeah, so we're going to start today by grinding 24 ounces worth, which would be 52 grams in. So I'm going to pour this off screen to the trash can. And today we're going to measure 52 grams. We're going to do our honey process Columbia today. This is one of our newer coffees, and it's half washed, half natural process. There's going to be some really nice fruit forward notes in there, but kind of ending with some nice little chocolatey notes. It's honestly a really beautiful cup, but super fruity up front, which is really nice. So I'm going to put my 52 grams in, and then we're going to grind at that kind of medium grind level. What you're going to want to do with your filter is no matter what kind of filter you have, whether it's the square filter or the half circles like we have, you're going to want to, the way you put in your filter is you're going to open it up and you're going to have one layer of the filter on one side, and you're going to have 3 on the other side. So that's actually meant to help give you more guarding actually against the pour nozzle right there. If you were to use the one layered side, you put it in there, and because of suction, it actually would pull that one layer into the funnel there, and it would cause clogging. And you need air; it needs to breathe. And so you're actually going to use the side that has the 3 layers, and you're going to put that up against your spout here, and that's actually how you're going to pre-wet your filter. So we're going to pre-wet our filter as with any brew method that has a paper filter. We're going to completely cover it with water, with making sure that that 3-layer side is on the spout side. And so once we pre-wet our filter, I'm going to pour this off screen again, and take our coffee here. We're going to tare our scale. And I didn't mention the scale earlier, but you want to use a gram scale that weighs in grams. We use the scale and the timer combo. But you can very well just use a scale as long as it's in grams and your phone timer. But we really like the combo, so you can kind of see it all in one spot. So just kind of a note for that, if you are looking to kind of upgrade something right away, that would be a really cheap option, is to upgrade your scale. So we're going to take our coffee, pour it in to 52 grams. And you're going to want to kind of take the Chemex and give it a little shake and kind of tap the side. You want the coffee bed in there to be completely flat. And so when we do our bloom and when we pour, it's going to cause even extraction because you're pouring across a flat surface. You don't want it to be like kind of higher up on one side or the other. So once you fill that up, we're going to tare it to 0. And that's the fun part. Now we're going to get brewing. So you take your kettle. We're going to start the timer, and I'm going to do a 100-gram pour, kind of fully submerging the entire coffee bed from the inside out and then back to the inside for 100 grams for 40 seconds. So I'm going to start my timer here. I'm going to start from the middle and just kind of do those circles that I was saying and work our way to the outside. Trying to get every single part of this coffee bed submerged in water. And we're going to work our way back to the center until we reach 100 grams. Let me do one more on the outside there. And now we're going to let it sit for 40 seconds. And so this is the bloom. This is where all the gases are being released. It's going to be super aromatic. You're going to have a lot of really kind of, depending on what roast you use, a lot of fruity smells. You might have some more of those chocolatey kind of baker's chocolate smells. But this is really, really aromatic in this first stage. It's all those gases being released. You're going to kind of see it bubble a little bit. And what we're going to do is after 40 seconds, I'm going to pour right in the middle of the coffee bed. And we're going to pour at a very steady, slow rate for 100 grams. And then we're going to stop and we're going to let it rest. And then we're going to wait about 5 to 8 seconds and then do the next pour and the next, and so on and so forth till we reach 600 grams. So my 100-gram pour there. And the important thing here is just to make sure you're pouring directly in the center. So we're going to build up a crust. So you'll kind of see the inside, where you're pouring is going to be a little lighter, and on the outside it's going to be a little darker. You're creating this crust of coffee, and it's brewing underneath. What we're actually going to do in our last pour is we're going to break that crust, and it's all going to brew together. We've tried different types of brewing on the Chemex. We've tried the full, doing circle pours the entire time, doing a mix of like center pour and the circle pour. And we just tended to like the center pour method just a little better in terms of taste-wise with clarity. Really, there's some really nice sweetness that comes with this type of pouring. So that's why we chose to go this route. But we do the same kind of idea on our V60 as well. Any cone brewer, we tend to do just a center pour method. Makes it a lot easier. Perfect. So then we're going to keep pouring 100 grams. Anywhere around 2 minutes and 30 seconds is where you want to do your final pour once you reach the 600 grams. And we're going to be just around there, which would be really nice. And then once you do your final pour, we're going to break this crust, kind of going in the same kind of method as when we did the bloom, where we started from the center, worked our way out, and just kind of, you'll see all that coffee, you'll see that crust break apart, and it'll become a lot lighter in color. So we're just past the 230, and I'm going to take my kettle, I'm going to pour from the inside, break that crust all the way around, going in circles until we reach 720 grams. So every pour is 100 grams, except for the last pour, it's going to be 120 grams. So we're just going to keep going in circles, make sure you get all the outside, work your way to the inside, and then finish there at 720, just like that. we're going to let it drain. And so once it goes down a little more, we're actually going to take the whole Chemex, and we're going to give it a little swirl. And that's going to get all the coffee out from the filter. The coffee is going to want to kind of snatch itself to the filter, and as it comes down, it's just going to get stuck, and the water is going to keep going down. Well, those beans still need to be extracted, and so you're going to want to do a little swirl to get them off the side, and so that it all kind of comes down together in a level base. So I'm going to do that right now. So it came down a little bit. I'm going to shake it a little bit. Sometimes I do this, it's not necessary, but if I do see that this is kind of seeped too far into the spout, I'm just going to give it a little lift, and that just helps it get more air for breathing. Remember, Chemex really needs that breathing air through the spout to be able to brew correctly. And our final finish time is going to be around anywhere from 4 minutes to like 4 minutes and 30 seconds, give or take some few seconds here or there. But that's kind of the goal with our Chemex brews. If you finish after that, there's kind of an easy fix is to see if potentially your grind size is too fine. So if you finish after 4 minutes 30 seconds, try to coarsen your grind up a little bit, and you'll notice that your time will be quicker. And you want that to be anywhere in that little window there. If you're finishing before 4 minutes, it's going to be under extracted, and you're going to want to fine that grind up just a little bit, and try to do like a couple notches at a time. You don't want to go like full, like way finer, just because you don't want to kind of clog the brewer and then get the exact opposite. Like if you're too soon, you're going to be way later on your next brew. So you want to kind of find the in between there. And then another kind of thing to look for is strength of the coffee. If you try our 1 in 14 at home and you think it's just a little too strong, then what you can do is you can adjust your ratio. So you can go from 1 in 14, which means 1 gram of coffee to 14 grams of water. You can go to like a 1 in 15, 1 in 16, and kind of do less coffee in your actual brew. And so that'll make it a little lighter bodied. And it's, kind of a bunch of numbers, but it's basically you take your final 720 grams, which is the 12 ounces of coffee, and you're going to divide that by 15, 16, 17, one of those higher ratios, and that's how you know how much coffee to get in here. So for ours, 720 grams divided by 14 is 52. So that's how we get our, like, how much coffee to put in there. And so on the other side of things as well, if you drink your coffee and it's too light, you think it's too watery, then make it a little stronger. Go for a 1 in 13, a 1 in 12, and kind of adjust from there, and then just adjust until you like it, right? Coffee is completely subjective. We as a roaster and a coffee shop can do everything we can to make the coffee taste the best that we think it can, and then you can take it home and brew it to your liking, which I think is the fun part about coffee is it's unique and it's fun to do and kind of learn and grow with each new brew. So after that you have your coffee here. I'm gonna pour this off screen, or leave this off screen real quick in the trash. And then you have your final. You'll kind of see there's a little nozzle here. That little nipple on the Chemex is actually where the full 24 ounces of coffee. That's how you know that you have your full amount, is when the coffee reaches that nipple in the glass there. And so you have your coffee. Let us know if you tried it and you liked it. If you have any questions, please don't be afraid to email us, to DM us on Instagram, give us a phone call at the shop. We'd love to chat. We're super into brewing and helping you guys brew at home. So if you guys have any questions, please reach out. And enjoy your Chemex brew. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.